excited with Andau Medical to have Dr. Gupta here. He's a great speaker. And this is such a great topic that I know everyone in dentistry, hopefully not everyone, but a lot of us can relate to. So I'm just going to go ahead and give the floor to you, Dr. Gupta, and let you take it from here.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal. You can hear me no problem, right?
Yep,
Okay,
you're great.
awesome. Let me share my screen, my laptop. What do you see, Crystal? Once I go into presenter mode, you can see my title screen. All
I
good?
can. Yep.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. Everybody, hi, how you doing? My name is Ankur. I'm a general dentist. I've been a dentist for about a little over 21 years. And I want to, before I get started, I want to let you all know that as I present, I am going to have my chat window open. So that means that you can, while I'm talking, you can actually just type a question in the chat. I would actually prefer you do that than using the question and answer feature. Just type it right into the chat. And hopefully, just while I'm lecturing, you have an opportunity to ask questions and allow me to answer those questions in real time. So I just want to start by letting you all know that it's it's a Wednesday night. You probably want to do other things. You want to watch Netflix. If it's light out still where you are, you might want to go for a walk or have dinner with your family. And instead, you're sitting in front of your computer and you're listening to me, and that means a lot. That is very important to me, and it's really important to me that this hour is actually worthwhile for you. And so, I put a lot of time into making sure that this presentation was as relatable as possible. So let's get started. I want to start first by letting you all know that every lecture that I do, it doesn't matter if I'm talking about implant overdentures or if I'm talking about posture or if I'm talking about how to run a team meeting. For every lecture that I do, I always create a high level handout. And if you were to go on my website, bebetterseminars.com, and click on the handouts tab, every handout that I make is just available to you. I don't ask for a subscription. I don't ask for a membership. I don't even ask for your email address. I just want you to enjoy. My hope is the next time that you are seating an implant overdenture, you're just going to be like, oh, dude, I remember that guy was talking about how he has a handout for. You just go to it, click it, download it, and print it out and keep it on your back counter. But today I'm going to be talking about um, posture and disability and back pain and body pain, stress. And I want to start by actually telling you all about a CE course that I attended in Phoenix back in 2019. And it was great. It was a great CE event. And this guy, Chuck Blakeman, he was the keynote speaker. And he was great. I mean, it was awesome. It was a 1 hour lecture. And hey, Reka, I saw your question. I'm just going to type in my website right here in the chat. And that way then you can just click that link and you can access the handout. Okay. So anyway, in the lecture, he was so good. I bought his book. I just was like, oh my God, I gotta just I just gotta um read this book. And it was okay. It was a pretty good book. But there was one line from the book that always kind of stuck with me. And that is, if you're doing anything, if you're just engaged in anything, any activity, anything that's taking up your effort, your time, your attention, ask yourself, is this the best and highest use of my time? And I think that sometimes we get so caught up in our profession, in our work, in our ability to produce, that we just kind of work. We just work. We get up and we have to work and we have to serve. And after a 30 or 40-year career of just getting up and working and being hard workers, high producers, we may have regrets. And those regrets might be because all that time that we spent wasn't the highest and best use of our time. Okay. Lisa, you asked where to find the handouts. You could email me, but actually it would be easier to just go on my website. It's bebetterseminars.com. And if you go on the chat, you'll actually see a couple posts before your question. You'll see
No.
I typed in I typed in my website. So all of us spend a lot of time here on the left side of this. A lot of us are hard workers and we're productive and we're reliable. And so we spend all of our time here. We do stuff that's like needs to be done, needs to be done. In order to pay your bills, you got to do stuff that needs to be done. In order to make sure your kids survive and that your house is manageable, you do stuff that has to be done. That's all stuff that I would call urgencies. And that's great. Good, good. You spend a lot of time on the left side of this, and that's fine. That means that you are a hard worker and you're reliable and you're doing your thing. But I want to talk about this upper right corner right over here. And this is what is this stuff that you never really have to do, but it's actually really important. And I like to look at that category as what I would call deathbed stuff. Okay. So here's what I want you to imagine. You're about to die. Hopefully it'll be a long time from now. It's like decades from now, but you're about to die and you're laying in your deathbed and you're like, oh God, this sucks. I'm in my deathbed. My organs are failing. I'm gonna die pretty soon. At least this is how I envision it's gonna happen. And then there's gonna be a point in which I say, well, let me look back at the life that I lived. And is it a life that I have pride in, that I'm proud of? Is it a life that I consider meaningful? A life that was full of purpose? Did I make things better for the people around me or did I make things worse? That's kind of how I think of when I think of deathbed stuff. And specifically, was I a person who was happy more than I was grumpy? And that seems like an easy one. It's like, look at me, I'm a pretty happy guy. But look at the middle-aged people around you, or the 55 plus people around you, the ones that are in your life. I would say all of us have to admit about half of them are not that happy. They're just kind of grumpy, they're grouchy, they have something to complain about. And I always kind of wondered that. Like, none of us want to grow old and be grumps. None of us want to grow old and be grouchy. Yet somehow a lot of people just do. And that's something that really scares me. And it should scare you too. It's like, unless we're intentional about being somebody who has a happiness reputation, a happiness brand, unless we're intentional about making sure that that is always going to supersede our tendency to be grumpy, our tendency to be pissy, then we gotta start making decisions that'll allow us to be consistently happy and consistently at peace. I can't tell you how many times in my life that I have bragged about how stressed out I am. Like, oh, hey, Dr. Gupta, how you doing? I'm like, oh man, I'm really busy. Oh, I got all the kids, and then there's a leak in the house, and at the practice our autoclave broke, and oh, well, I'm so, well, if that is the reputation that I have, then I will be a person who is consistently stressed out and not consistently at peace. But that's not what I want. I want when I am dying, I want to look back at my life and say, no, that people, if they were to describe me, they would describe me as somebody who's pretty chill. And I want to grow old and not follow fully in the footsteps of some of my role models, my male role models, my father, my father-in-law, my uncles, that as they got older, their bodies started to fall apart. And as a result of their bodies falling apart, they couldn't do a lot of the things that they kind of wish they could have enjoyed doing. Part of the joy of being retired people, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do some of the things that they thought they would be able to do because their bodies were broken. And I want to do everything I can now that I'm not a super old guy, I'm just a medium old guy. I just want to do everything that I can to avoid that. And I'm going to talk a lot about that today. I would like to look back and say I was very generous with love. I was not super stressed or pissy about financial crap. I know my autoclave is going to break sometimes. I know my taxes are going to be unpredictable at times. I know the market is going to drop. I just don't want to be one of those people who's pissy all the time that happens. And I think all of us, if we're honest with ourselves, we know people that are like that. And my hope is amongst how many of you, the 143 people that are on this call, that you're like, I just don't want to be one of those people. So what I'd like to do to just start is challenge you to just think about your deathbed stuff. Like what are the values that you really want to take with you in the next several decades of your life so that you're proud and you're happy and you can say, I lived a life in which I was using my time, my effort to the highest and best use. I was making the people around me would say I made things better rather than making them worse. And I just feel like this is something we have to be very intentional about. So when I was 25, I didn't I didn't come up with those. I mean, I'm sure if somebody was like, "Do you want to be happy when you grow old?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to be happy." But when I was 25, when I was young, the only questions that people were asking me then is like, "Well, how fast can you do a root canal? How many patients can you see a day? What's your daily production? How much money do you make?" Those were important. And I'm not saying that those are fully unimportant. I think that those questions are incredibly incomplete. And I see that one of my wife is an instructor at Case Western Reserve University, and one of her old students who graduated a couple of years ago, Dr. Patel, I noticed that you're on this call. I saw your name. You're this age, and I'm sure there's no doubt you get questions like this all the time from other people that are your age. It's production and money, and there's nothing wrong with that culture, but it's incomplete. And what I would like to do is challenge you to say, no, no, I got to put effort, of course, to these things, but I want to put effort towards a broader amount of deathbed stuff so that I don't grow old with regrets. So speaking of deathbed, there's a picture that I value quite a bit because this is the last picture I took of my grandmother before she died back in 2012. And the reason that I put a picture of my grandmother is because she moved in with my parents when I was a little kid. I was like a, I don't know, 1 year old, and my grandmother lived with us, and she lived with us my entire childhood. And when I was a little kid, she would have me sit in her lap before bed, and she would like sing Indian songs to me, and I would just stare at this jar that was sitting right next to her bed, and it had teeth in it. It had her dentures in it. And I was like, damn, what age am I going to be when I have dentures? I just remember that. I was like, how old? This lady's pretty old. How old am I going to be when I get dentures? So, how old are you going to be? How old are you going to be when you get your dentures? And my what did I do here? Okay. My assumption is most of you are like, never. I'm going to be dead years old. I'm never going to lose my teeth. So what happened? Why is it that this lady, my grandmother, I later found out that my dad told me that she lost her teeth when she was in her 40s. How is it that I'm only 2 generations removed from this lady? I'm just 2 generations removed. It's just her, my dad, me. 2 generations removed. But I'm fully confident that I'm going to keep my teeth for the rest of my life. And she lost her teeth in her 40s. What the hell is the difference? What's the difference? Go type it. Open up the chat. What is the difference between her and me? It couldn't be genetics. We're like the same. What is different between her and me? Why did she lose her teeth, but you're not going to? I'm not going to. Amanda, yes. More educated, sure. Access to care. Dr. Lee, you said access to care. I don't know. What? Wait a second. Peyton. Peyton. Whoa. Sorry to call you out, Peyton. You put processed foods? Dude, we have way more processed foods than they did. I mean, well, our diets are about 1 million times worse than than the diets that, a Himalayan villager like my grandmother had. So sorry for calling you out, Peyton, but it's definitely not processed foods. I would say that some of you put access, some of you put education, awareness. I'm going to say it's one thing. It's habit. It's habit. We all brush our teeth in the morning. We brush our teeth at night. We probably floss. We probably do more than that. It's habit. Every single one of us, it doesn't matter how stressed out, how busy you are, you go brush your teeth. It doesn't matter how tired you are at the end of the night, how much you want to just hit the pillow. You grab a toothbrush and you brush your teeth, you floss. Every single one of us does that habit. And as a result, we're going to keep our teeth for the rest of our life. Now, with that said, how many of us are going to grow old and have back pain? How many of us are going to grow old and have back pain? Probably a lot. there's, what is it now? 144 people on this call. Half of us are going to grow old and we're going to get back pain. Is it possible? I mean, we were able to completely shift in a expectation of growing old by just adding a 5, 6, 7 minute habit to our lives. Is it possible that if we add 5, 6, 7 minute habit to our lives in terms of muscular flexibility, core strength, core flexibility, um, mobility, 5 to 6 minutes every single day, do you think it's possible that we're just going to grow old and not have back pain? I think so. I think that some of you are like skeptical about that. But I'm sure my grandma would have been skeptical if some rep from Colgate came along and was like, "Yo, ladies, take this stick with some bristles on it and brush your teeth with it, and you're going to keep your teeth for the rest of your life." There's a possibility she would have been skeptical there. So, what are the habits right now that are neither good nor bad? They're normal, that are potentially making us miserable, that are causing back pain, that are causing body pain, that are making our sleep worse? What are those habits? What are the things that are just ingrained in our culture? Like 50 years ago, smoking was ingrained in our culture. What are the things that are ingrained in our culture today? Not really bad or good, but that are doing us harm. Nothing to feel ashamed about. Yeah, Karen, binge watching TV, tech, sitting all day, hunching over our phones. I would say that's probably a pretty good one. This isn't him, okay? This is just a Google image that I found. But I knew a dentist early in my career. He was actually, he was a real blessing in my career early on. I got a lot of advice from him. And when I started educating, when I became an educator about 12 years ago, I actually called him and I was like, "Yo, I'm an educator. I'm going to conferences and I'm teaching dentists. What should I talk about? What do you wish a dentist would have talked to you about?" And he said, talk to him about posture. He said, "Gupta, talk to him about posture." I was like, "Posture? What posture? Like, who cares?" And he was like, "Gupta, listen." And he looked like this guy. He had tech neck. Okay, so he looked like that. That's just how he looked. Nice guy. Actually pretty handsome face. But he had his body looked like this. And he said, "Gupta, I can't lift my arms over my head. I can't put on a shirt the way you put on a shirt. I can't take care of myself the way you take care of yourself. I've lost certain elements of dignity because I can't lift my arms. I have no mobility." And he's like, "So many dentists are going to be like that." And I was like, "Oh, damn, that's a big deal." And so I went to work a couple of days later, and one of my patients, he said, one of my patients is a physical therapist. And I said, "Hey, do you have statistics about like postural disability?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude." And he goes back to work, calls me a couple of days later, and he says, "Yeah, I called the American Physical Therapy Association, or whatever." And he said, "Did you know that in the last 25 years, in 25 years, the number of disability claims because of postural disability, that means that's a disability claim, yo. That is your body fell apart to the point where you can't work. You can't work. The disability claims in America went up 54% in that 25-year period, and the average age of a disability claimant was 57 and now it's 53. And these were stats from 2015. I would say today the average age of a disability claimant is even younger. That's my age. That's me right there. And to be honest, if I get a little break from dentistry, I don't really care. What I'm worried about is that my body is going to break and I won't be able to play basketball with my son. I won't be able to play pickleball with my wife or go for walks or bike rides with my daughter. That would suck. And I don't want that to happen. So what's the deal? How did America fall apart? How did all of us middle-aged humans all have bodies that broke so much earlier? And I think the answer partly is this. We are now we live in a society where it's very much normal to become entertained by looking straight down. Okay? Generations before us, they entertained themselves by looking forward. We are being entertained by looking down. And I want you to just imagine your head weighs about 10 pounds. Okay. For some of the men in here, your head may weigh 12 pounds. Every time that you lean your head forward, you're creating an immense amount of torque on the muscles behind your neck. Okay, these are called your trapezius muscles. And when you lean forward, those muscles have got to, they got to keep you up. They got to keep your head up. So it doesn't seem like those muscles are doing much work when you're looking down at your phone, but they're doing a lot of work. The more work that they have to do, the bigger the muscle gets, right? I mean, if I do more biceps and bench presses, I'm going to get bigger muscles in like the nice, like glamour muscles. But if I'm doing this all day, the muscles behind my neck are going to get bigger. And what is that called? What is that called? The muscles in my neck are getting big, not these football player muscles, the muscle right back here, right in the back of my neck. What is that called? To have a big old muscular hump back behind my neck. It's a hunchback. It's a hunchback. And I don't think anybody here wants a hunchback. Once you get a hunchback, it's hard to be mobile. It's hard to move your arms once you get a hunchback. When you have a hunchback, it's hard to turn and look over your shoulder. Once you have a hunchback, you're going to have a more difficult time doing some of the things that you enjoy. So I gave my phone to one of my assistants, and I was like, yo, can you just take photos whenever you see like me or my wife like with crappy posture? This was one day. Like, look at it. This is one, two, three. It was like every time she turned a corner and saw it, she was like, "Oh, damn, they got that posture." At least, um,
Yeah.
at least, my wife and I get to become hunchbacks together. I guess. That's cute. I guess. So
I
okay.
never unlogged you off the other one.
Uh-oh, somebody's not muted. All right. So, what can we do? Well, I've attended. I've been a dentist for 21 years. I've attended enough CE about this. This is how it is. They tell you to go see a physical therapist. Okay. Go see a chiropractor. All right. Go sign up for yoga or do Pilates or get cortisone shots or something like that. Okay. You know what all of those are? Those are all time. They all take freaking time. Do you know, in order for me to go to a yoga class, which I'm a very big fan of, I have to get dressed in yoga clothes. I got to go down to the basement, get my little yoga mat, and I put it in this little yoga mat holder. Then I got to walk over to my car and then drive my car over to the yoga studio that's 15 minutes away, do my 1 hour yoga class. Then when I come back, I'm like drenched in sweat. So I got to drive back home and then put my yoga mat away. And then I got to rip off my wet clothes and take a shower. And the entire ordeal takes like 2.5 hours. Not 2.5 hours, maybe an hour and 45 minutes. That's too long. All of these things take time. And the same way that you can't have beautiful teeth by just going to a dentist every 6 months, you need to have a routine that you can do every day that is not time consuming. Okay? So let's talk about that. Oh, and then the other thing about body pain CE is they all try to sell you stuff. It's always like, oh yeah, and at the end here, I'm going to sell you something. So let me just tell you, all of these, all of these require time. What I want to do is offer you some solutions that don't require time, that just require a little bit of effort, and I'm going to max it out at 5 minutes. Okay? Remember, she lost her teeth because she didn't brush her teeth. She'd never developed a habit, and that's why she lost her teeth. What I want you to do is I want you to develop a habit. And the first one is called football goalposts. Okay? So you all can see me right now, but I can't see you. What I want you to do is imagine there's a wall right behind me. You know what? Screw it. I'll just do it. There's a wall right here. Oh, no, I got it. Here. You can see my pajamas too. All right. So here I am standing against this wall. What a football goalpost is where you take your ankles, your butt, your shoulders, your head, your elbows, and your knuckles. You make them all touch the wall, and then you just migrate up, and then migrate down, and then migrate up, and then migrate down. Okay. I would like for one of you to do that. Go for it. Just do it. We can't see you. You're not going to be embarrassed. Just find a wall. And remember, ankles, butt, shoulders, elbows, knuckles, head, all touch the wall, and then migrate up and down. And if you get to the point where you're like, I'm going up, but my elbows are kind of coming off the wall, then you've gone too far up. And your mobility might not be that great at the time. But if you make this a part of your routine, yes, Kim, you did it. Oh, Kim Gallagher. I feel like if I ever meet you, I got to give you like a Starbucks card or at least a hug. Thank you. Thank you for actually humoring me and doing this. Okay. So, what you'll find is you will just gain mobility. Over time, you're just going to be like, oh, damn, I can get my hands a lot higher. And you're just going to feel a little bit better stretch. Okay. I've taken 30 seconds now. That's 30 seconds of your day. Okay. The next one, this one, all you got to do is take your phone, grab your phone, and now give yourself a nice, sexy double chin. Just take all that flesh that's underneath between your neck and your chin and just kind of bunch it up. There it is. And now take a selfie. Click. Okay? You can put it on Tinder, whatever. Just take a selfie of you with a sexy double chin. Okay? And then what you got to do is print it out. Print out the selfie. Now I have a laminator at my office, so I laminated it and then I hung it from my car rear view mirror. Here it is. Let's see. There it is. Okay. And by doing that, what you will do is while you're driving to work, you just smash. Just smash. You got that headrest behind you? Smash against the headrest. How much time does that take? It takes 0 minutes. It takes 0 seconds because you're driving anyway. I'm not asking you to devote more time to this. I'm asking you to, while you are driving, multitask by giving the muscles that allow your head to sit in the proper place on your atlas muscle, on your atlas spinal vertebrae. It's just giving those muscles a chance to develop, okay? They're the anti-muscle to whatever would normally give you a hunchback, okay? So I've only taken 30 seconds of your day so far, 30 seconds of your time. Next, when you're gonna look at your phone, try to hold your phone. Take the hand that's not holding your phone, okay? So I'm left-handed, so this is the hand that normally holds the phone. And my phone's not here, so I'll just use my cup of water, okay? Take your other hand, take it across your body, and then rest your hand with the phone on the hand without the phone, just like that. And use that to look at your phone. I mean, I would love it if everybody here just quit looking at Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever, and just became more present, went for longer walks, enjoyed nature, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of us just have a little bit of a habit or an addiction to looking at our phones. My ask is that you just look at your phone a little bit differently. Just have a slightly different strategy on how you would look at your phone. And then now, how much time is that? No, it's 0 time. It's no time. You are going to be looking at your phone anyway. I'm just going to ask you to look at your phone a little bit different. And then the last one is press ups. And this is where you can, you lay on the floor, and then you just keep your hips, your pelvis on the ground. And instead of doing a push-up is where you are in a plank position and you push up. In this case, you keep your pelvis on the ground, and what you end up doing is you bend your lower back. Yeah, Kimberly, just like Cobra pose. Same thing. Just like Cobra pose. And this right here is a wonderful way for you to do an anti-movement from the what would the word be? Like, okay, so take your lower back. The way you're all sitting, most of you are sitting on a desk or a couch or something like that right now. Your lower back is bending one way. Your lower back is curved one way. By doing it this way, you're bending your lower back the other way. And all I'm going to ask here is 30 seconds. So the amount of time I've asked for so far is 1 minute. You spend already way more than that brushing your teeth. Counter stretch. Thank you, Karen. Dude, it's late, man. My brain isn't working like it was this morning. So thank you, Karen. A counter stretch. It's a counter stretch to the position that you are currently in. Okay. Now, my lower back because I'm very tall and very skinny, my lower back has been a problem. And I've noticed that a lot of dentists that I've met have had, if they've had problems, they've been lower back problems where they have thrown out their back or something like that. And so I've actually met with quite a few physical therapists, chiropractors, et cetera. I said, give me some exercises for the lower back. Okay. So I spend more than a minute. Okay. What I would like to do to start you all off is just spend a minute doing the exercise that I just talked about. But if there's more time, the reason that we have lower backs is because we have weak butts, weak hips, and a rounded lumbar spine. The rounded lumbar spine I talked about just a moment ago. Okay. And let's just talk. Reka, don't worry, I got you. So one exercise you can do is just called a goblet squat. Just a goblet squat. And then while you're down there, you can stretch out just like this. Okay. How much time does this take? I don't know. Maybe you can do it at work in between patients. Maybe you can do it while you're watching TV. Or maybe you'll just do this downstairs in your basement when you should be working out, and it might take a minute or two. Okay? That will strengthen the weak butts. Weak hips, just lay on your side while you're watching TV. Right? Oh, Lisa, yeah, dude, of course, in between patients. I'm fine. It's your hallway. Weak hips, there's two exercises that you can do for weak hips. One is where you lay on your side and just lift your legs up. And then the other is something called figure skaters. And that is where you, I don't know, do the figure skater move. I don't know how else to describe it. Strengthening my hips. If you notice, I'm pretty good at that figure skater thing. When I first started, I was freaking horrible at it. I don't even think I could do two figure skater things. I was so bad. My hips were so freaking weak. Okay. And then the rounded lumbar spine, which I already talked about. You can do the press ups, and the other exercise you can do is called cat cow. And that is where you just basically rotate your spine in both directions while your knees are on the ground. And yes, Kimberly is right. Lisa, you can do it in sterilization. You can do it in the staff lounge. You can do it at the front desk. You can do it in the waiting room. If you notice here, I'm doing it in my waiting room. Okay. So one thing that you could do if you wanted to, I noticed that in the beginning of today's lecture, I talked about how I have all my handouts. This right here, what I'm about to talk about, this is all, I did not have it in my handout because it's rather new. I've seen two physical therapists and a chiropractor for my own well-being, and then also in preparation for some of these ergonomic lectures. And all of these physical therapists, etc., they have given me these particular exercises to do as part of not my daily routine, but part of my routine where maybe in a day I might do one or two of these. A different day, I might do three or four, just depending on how much time that I have. Okay. You can find all of these exercises on my Instagram page. So if you just follow me, Instagram at Ankur Gupta DDS. I try to about once every 2 weeks do a post just specifically about ergonomics. And then so you can kind of see what some of these are. Here, I'll let you watch this video here.
By Peter Diaz. Great. And one of the things that he talked about was how when we're in our 40s, 50s, we should be able to stand up from like sitting on the ground without using our hands or our knees. And I was like, dude, I can do that. And then I tried and I couldn't, and it pissed me off. So for the last 6 months, I've been doing this little 3-minute routine. And today was the first day I was ever able to actually stand up on my own. And so I wanted to share these little exercises, 3 minutes, no more than that. You can do it every day.
So, well, I mean, one thing I just want to make sure that I emphasize to all of you is I'm not like I'm not in like incredibly good shape. I'm not naturally predisposed to athleticism or fitness. I'm naturally predisposed to getting injured. And when I started doing these exercises, I sucked at all of them. And over time, I just got better. And I just think that that's really important to just mention all of you because you might do some of these and you're like, holy crap, I can't do, like, these suck. I hate these. Just keep on doing them. Just keep on doing them. And slowly you'll get a little bit better. I just found this document online. I just Googled lower back exercises. Now, one of you, somebody with an Indian name, I think your name was Rekha. Yeah, Rekha, you said you have neck issues. That's fine. Print out a neck tension thing on Google. And then what we did is my wife and I printed this out, we laminated it, and we just put it next to our TV. And every night while we're watching Netflix, we just kind of do a couple of these exercises. And that's been really helpful. I mean, these don't take time if you're watching TV anyway. I find the placement of the number 8 so incredibly uncomfortable. Like, I just wish the guy put the number 8 somewhere else. It just, there could have been so many places for number 8, and it just makes me really uncomfortable. And the problem, the thing that really bothers me is that number 8 is like my favorite one. It's like my favorite exercise, but I like can't look at it. Anyway, the thing is, you don't have to go to a professional to find these exercises. You can go on Google and find exercises for carpal tunnel for your wrist. Rekha, you can find exercises for your neck. Now let's take some advice to the actual office. I want you to consider 2 things to add to your professional repertoire. The first one is a saddle stool. And when I first learned about saddle stools, they were being sold by ADEC and Pelton and Crane and Crown Seating. They were $1,000. Do you know how much this was? This is $100 on Amazon. You can get a saddle stool. If you're like, man, I kind of want a saddle stool, but I don't want to make the investment, buy this. Just go on Amazon, buy a little crappy saddle stool. And when you sit on a saddle stool, you are just going to be a little bit more upright. You just are. It's harder to be hunched over doing dentistry if you're sitting on a saddle stool. It will give you a wedgie in the first week. I don't want you to quit. If you get a wedgie the first week and you're like, damn, dude, like 6 inches of my pants are like inside my butt, that's not permanent. I don't know how it's not permanent, but my first week, like, I lost my pants inside my butt. After a week went by, my pants are normal now. Like, they don't disappear. And the saddle stool has allowed my back to be straighter. You could get one of these incredibly expensive saddle stools, but I want to warn against that because, the kind with the armrests, they kind of like, if you turn, they kind of punch people. Like, the armrest will like punch your patient in the neck. So be a little careful with these expensive ones. And then what about this? Surgitel came to my dental school back in the early 2000s when I was first learning how to be a dentist. They sold us loops, and I was a Surgitel customer for probably 15 years. And I thought I thought the customer service was kind of sucky, but I thought that's just what you get if you want to have nice loops. You got to. But look at my position here. Now, obviously, my position is way better than my assistant's. But my position kind of sucks. My ears are not over my shoulders. My ears should be over my shoulders. But my ears are what? About, what would you say, 6 inches? If my ears are supposed to be here and they're over here, they're about maybe 4 or 5 inches in front of where they're supposed to be. It will ultimately give me a hunchback if I stay in that position for long enough. And that's when I discovered the Admatec loops, the ones that are distributed by Andau Medical. My first pair of loops that were ergo loops, they were 10x ergo loops. And, my assistant took this photo. She wasn't taking this photo to show off my awesome posture. The reason she took a photo is because she was making fun of the fact that I'm always looking like I'm staring right at her. Because it does. If you get ergo loops, your eyes are going to be looking like straight forward. Obviously, your focus is going to be down here on the actual dental work that you're doing. But it's going to look like you're staring at your assistant, and it's going to freak him out a little bit. But this is my position when I do dentistry. This is my position. I don't do dentistry with my head down. I do dentistry with my head up. The only way that these loops work is with my head up. And what I've noticed since my wife got the ergo loops, since I've got the ergo loops, both of us have more energy at the end of the day. We just have more energy. We have two dogs. We got to walk the dogs. We got to have dinner with the kids, help clean up. We're not beat at the end of the day. And the reason that we're not beat, I believe, is because we don't have to withstand that slow exhaustion of having our head in the wrong spot for the entire day. Okay. Very recently, I would say about 2 months ago, I upgraded. Now I do not have the Admatech Ergo Loops by Andau Medical. Now I have the Ergo V Pro. The Ergo V Pro they're still ergo loops. They're still going to allow me to stare straight, but actually focus down. But the difference between my loops now and the loops that I had before is they're adjustable. So I have my 10x when I'm doing stuff like endo, because I need 10x. I need to be looking at those canals. But for like extractions and getting people numb, I'm at 7x. And then when I am asked to go to do hygiene checks, I put it at 5x. So why do I like these particular loops? I like these loops because I don't really want to be at 10x when I do, I don't want it to be at 10x when I do a hygiene check. It's just too close up. I want to be at 5x. These are really, really phenomenal. They're incredible. Kimberly, you asked 7x for anesthesia. Okay, so let me give you the truth. So 7x, that's pretty focused. So what I do is I actually turn my hand so that the needle is facing away from the patient, and I wait until my hand enters my field of view. And then when it enters the field of view, then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I can turn my hand. That way I'm not sticking a needle in somebody's eye or something like that. Because yeah, I went from my Surgitels were 3.5x and I went all the way to 10x. And man, I could for the first like 3 weeks, I was like, I don't even know where my hands are. Like my hands could be like bumping against the patient's face. I had no idea. It took me a little while, but actually that technique is to hold anything that you don't that might be scary away from the patient and wait until your hand gets into your field of view. That's really helpful. Or use the patient's face kind of you put your other hand on the patient's face like as a fulcrum, and then wait until the hand with the needle touches that hand, right? Those both things have helped me quite a bit. Okay. The brand that I use it comes from Andau Medical. They're the Admatech Ergo V Pro loops. Shante said that the Ergo loops is the best money you've spent in a long time. I agree. I agree. You know, I have my hygienists have something called guided biofilm therapy. It's like they clean people's teeth without using scalers, and they barely use the piezo. It's just like this air flow thing. And I'm always wondering, I'm like, what was the better investment? Was it guided biofilm therapy or was it my ergo loops? I still think my ergo loops were number one, but GBT is a pretty close second. Andau is a very, very good company. The other thing that I do want to recommend is I don't use the lights that you see here on your screen. All those lights have been taken off of all of my operatories. But I want to, so using the light from your loops is very helpful. But I want you to think about your intraoral camera for a second. I have 10x loops. I have 10x. I have the highest mag loops that you can get. But a camera is going to give you even better vision on some of the stuff that you're working on. I have a quick story that I want to tell you. I had a associate. She wanted to watch me do a molar endo, and she's sitting across from me, and the patient's in between us, and I got my little mirror, and I'm like, here, you see how I'm doing this? And she's kind of looking at the mirror, and it's all stupid. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. I was like, let me just get the camera. And so I take a picture, and I'm like, yeah, see. And then she's like, oh yeah, I see there's some crap that you left in the distal buccal canal. I'm like, yeah. So I clean it up a little bit. I take my intraoral camera, I clean it up, and I take another photo. Now we have this big old enlarged photo on the TV screen in front of us. And I look, and she looks, and we're like, wait a second. what the fudge is that? It was MB2. I found MB2. I found like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. General dentists never find MB2 because we suck too bad. No, it's not because we suck too bad. It's because we have wimpy loops. If you get 10x loops, you're gonna find more stuff. You're gonna become a better dentist. You're gonna magically become better. And then if you use an intraoral camera, you will be even better. You will be a better dentist. You're going to find ledges that you would have missed. You're going to find overhangs that you would have missed. You're going to find little sharp, whatever. You're going to become a better dentist. So don't just rely on your loops. Get a cheap intraoral camera, one that's cheap enough where you can keep in every operatory, that's super easy, that doesn't have 3 buttons or 5 buttons, that has 1 button, that you just click it and it shows up on the TV screen. And you're going to find that you're just going to miss stuff. I did this crown prep, took a photo, and I was like, oh crap, look at this. I left some decay there. So I used my slow speed, buzzed that all out of there. And then I did a crown prep that I was a little more proud of. Would I have caught that without a camera? I don't know. More than likely, no. And it's just nice to know that I can become a better dentist without gaining skills. I just need to become a better dentist by embracing the technology that's out there. I am running a little short on time. So the rule of loops, get a headlight, use a company where the customer service is the best. And I will tell you right now, Andau Medical, I'm an educator. I talk to a million dentists all the time. Andau Medical is the #1 in customer service. My wife has already broken her temple arm. She got a new temple arm in 2 days. Back when I used to break my Surgitels, I would get repairs in like months. Use a customer service that's the best. Use loops, ergo loops that force you into the correct posture, and get lightweight loops, okay? And then the camera, get a camera that's cheap enough to keep in every op, that integrates with every imaging system, and that's easy enough so that even your least tech savvy assistant can handle it, okay? I have a little, hang on a second. I have a little section about longevity, etc. that, you know what, it's 8:49. I think I'm going to do it. I apologize. I think I'm still going to be able to be done at 9 o'clock, okay? So I want to talk about getting old, okay? Getting old, I want to be upright, I want to be active, I want to be physical, I want to be happy when I get old. And there are cultures throughout the world, 5 specifically, where people just get old and they're not sick. They're not dying of heart attacks, they don't have dementia and Alzheimer's. They are not dying, and they are not losing some of their wellness the way that we are here in America. And I read this book. It's called The Blue Zones by Dan Buettner. It's a great book. It's something I'd recommend. But I'm going to summarize it for you. Okay. You know what all of these places have in common? I'll just tell you. Number 1, they only eat about 80% of they get to 80% full and then they stop eating. It's a Okinawan term called haribachibu. Stop eating earlier, and I got a tip for you. If you have dogs, come home, eat dinner, and then immediately walk the dogs. Don't clean up. Don't do anything. Leave the food right there. Just go walk your dogs. And what'll happen is within the first couple of minutes of your walk, you're going to lose that hunger hormone. You're going to feel more satiated. By the time you got back home, you're not going to feel as much of a strong desire to graze. Number 2 is they all eat a ton of plants. Number 3 is all of them are they're regular attenders of some type of faith. Number 4, they're constantly moving. They're going for walks, they're going for bike rides, they are moving on a regular basis, something that's very hard to do in our culture. I don't mean to call you out, ladies, but my wife is the same age as me. We're nearing 50, and she sees people on Instagram constantly talking about Botox and fillers and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to remind you all, man, the happiest, healthiest people in the world, they honor getting old. They honor getting old. They take pride in getting old, and they take pride in some of the physical ramifications of being old. And so for those of you who are not liking some of the things that you see in the mirror because it doesn't match some of your Instagram influencers, just remember your priorities, remember your deathbed stuff. Getting old is something to be proud of. Getting old, think about it. You get old, that means that you've given a lot of love in your life. You've gained a lot of wisdom. You've been somebody that people have relied upon and admired. That's something to take pride in. There's no reason to try to fight against that or try to develop stress when some of the physical ramifications of getting old start to appear. A lot of the Blue Zones drink wine, a glass of wine every night, which is, sounds pretty awesome. And all of them engage in some type of meditation and prayer. I didn't grow up with very religious parents, and as a middle-aged person, a parent of myself, of teenage kids, um, what I realize is what life we live, the culture that we live in, there's a lot of ping pong balls bouncing around in our head. There's just so many. There's stresses associated with children and our practices and our dentistry and our professions and our aging parents and our homes and our money and our bank account and our bills. They're just bing, 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 bing. I can see the value of meditation and prayer because it's just a forced time that you do on a regular basis that tells you to just forget the ping pong balls for 5 or 10 minutes. Just try it. I started meditating years ago. It's still freaking hard. When I sit there and I get my stupid little position with my legs crossed and me, all I'm doing is like sitting there silently, but my brain is all, did I call back that patient? Did I write that lab slip? And then by like the third or fourth minute, I finally am able to get like maybe 80% of those ping pong balls to calm down. And only on magical occasions do I get them all to calm down. This is something that's been very beneficial for me, and it's allowed me to realize some of that deathbed stuff. So I want to end with this. Let's forget about the deathbed. My grandmother suffered a lot in her last 10 years. She was very sick. She was very immobile. And she didn't get to do a lot of the things that I think all of us are hoping that we can do when we get old. And so let's forget about the deathbed and just talk about your terminal decade, the 10 years, the last 10 years of your life. And those last 10 years, this is what I want to do. Okay. So let's say realistically, I'm going to die when I'm 85, let's say. And so from age 75 to 85, I want to be able to kneel down and pick up a cute little descendant of mine and lift them up and shower them with love. I want to be able to physically be able to do that. I'll be regretful if I haven't taken care of my body to the point where I cannot do that. I don't want to be afraid of stairs. I want to be able to play with maybe a little ancestor, a little descendant of mine, and be able to be on my feet and then get back up.
I liked it more. I actually don't.
Actually, like somebody is so not muted. All right, good. Okay, I think she figured it out. Okay. I want to be able to put my carry-on bag on that overhead bin. I want to be able to just bend down, lift it up, and put it up there, even as an old guy. I want to be able to go for a walk or a hike and be mobile. I've noticed that the way that I bond with loved ones is through physical activity. And I don't want medicinal side effects to be a constant consideration. I want to be able to smile and laugh and not be thought of as a grouch or a grump or a crotchety old man. I don't want to be one of these old dudes who's all infatuated with politics. I find those people annoying. And so if I want these things to be a reality for me when I'm 75, when do I start? And the answer is now. You start now. You don't start when you're 60. You don't start when you're 58. You start as early as you possibly can. I'm in my late 40s and I started adopting certain lifestyle changes to hopefully achieve some of these goals. I started adopting them 5 years ago. You know what I tell myself? I say, I wish I had started 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And so for those of you who are younger, like Mrunal, who's on this call, start now. Start doing the things to make sure that you are upright, mobile, you are flexible, you are without pain, you're happy, you are not infatuated with taxes and real estate markets and all that other stupid stuff. Make sure that you start now so that you can be as unregretful as possible when you get old. All right. I want to let you all know that I try my best to put relevant and relatable content on my social media. I'm not trying to become an influencer or anything like that. I don't sell shit. I don't sell anything. I just talk about my experiences as a dental professional and little tools that have helped me. Obviously, I talk about my ergo loops from Andau Medical because they're awesome. Okay. But I talk about a bunch of other stuff. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my ID or whatever, my login on Instagram is Ankur Gupta DDS. Maybe you'll learn a couple things here and there. So with that said, it is 8:58. Andau Medical will be sending you your CE courses, your CE sheets. Okay. If you need to get a hold of me for any reason, here's all my contact information. And I need anybody on this call who is an AGD member. I need you to email me, okay? Because my responsibility, the CE is not coming from Andau Medical. The CE is coming from me. Because I'm a licensed AGD PACE provider, my obligation is to update your AGD CE platform with the fact that you attended this course. And so if you are an AGD member, an Academy of General Dentistry member, please send me an email so that I can update your AGD profile. Okay, that's it. Crystal, how did I do?
You did great. I'm just reading all of the comments here. So many pearls. Thank you for being so real. It was great. I don't know about everyone else, but I was definitely laughing my butt off a few times here and there.
Great.
But
Well,
a
this
lot,
was a pleasure. It was awesome having such a participatory group. I mean, so many people commenting, asking questions, and being awesome. So this was a real pleasure. It was an honor for me. I hope you all got something out of it. And Crystal, I really just appreciate Andau Medical's giving me the opportunity to share my knowledge with all of you.
yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm sure we will. I've walked away with a few pearls, so I know a lot of people have. So thank you so much. But yeah,
Oh, Lisa, I see you said come to Vancouver to the PDC. Dude, I've been trying to teach at PDC for like years. Put in the good word for me, please. I would love to speak at the PDC. All right. Anyway, thank you everyone. I'm gonna sign off. I gotta go to bed, yo. So thanks everybody.
thank you everyone. Have a great night.